Hello, welcome to the channel where we learn how to speak, how to talk Pidgin in 2 weeks. We're going to look at expressions in Pidgin. As some of you might know, I think expressions, that's where the detail is, that's where the devil is. People might understand all the words. Most of the words are similar in English and Pidgin. The verbs, the nouns, they're very similar. But there's some expressions which most people learning the language find difficult to understand, and that's mostly because the syntax of Pidgin follows more closely the syntax of the indigenous languages in the areas where it's spoken. So if you look at expressions and you have all the verbs and all your nouns nicely sorted, you have to just do a flip. It's a little flip of the in the brain, kind of flip the script a bit. And your thinking actually is going to change. I remember somebody telling me they were quite surprised most Pidgin speakers are not better poets, because that's what Pidgin does. You're talking like a poet. And like Dylan says, when the poem is written, the world is changed forever. So I think speaking Pidgin, learning how to speak Pidgin, you change your world. You color it differently. So let's jump right in. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, and let's get to move on. The first expression we're going to see today is it's how you day. I think it comes from English. How's your day? How's your day? So it's been shortened to how you day. You can also hear ha. It's more of a greeting. People tell it's a greeting, but it's an expression. You can go around town and just go, how you doing? How no? And people answer back, and then you move on. So it's it's more of an engagement with people rather than a greeting. People say good morning, good afternoon, good evening in Pidgin. I mean, even though it's English. But when you say how you day, it's more intimate, it's more engaging, it's more saying, I want to be with you. You can hear how no. How no is more Cameroonian, and it's a little bit more affectionate. It's somebody you know very well. I'm trying to think of the equivalent in English, but it's asking somebody how they are, but in a nice way. It's like saying, how are you, darling? I think that's the closest. How no. You hear how no mostly in Cameroon, and you could hear ha. Ha too is Cameroon. You could walk by and you go, my man, ha no. Or ha things a day. It's just how I pronounce. So how you day, it's once you master that, you can start talking to people, and the answer you get back is probably a day fine or a day. Or in Nigeria, you can hear nothing spoiled, and there's nothing that's gone bad, nothing that's spoiled. So how you day? How's your day? That's the first. It's a greeting, it's an expression, but I want to think it's an expression. So how you day? Masaha no. Masaha. Okay, that's the first one. We're going to move on to the second. The second expression we're going to look at is it's a continuation of the greeting, but like I say, it's more of an expression. You hear this one mostly in Nigeria. Which one? The first time I heard it, I was very confused. Which one you day? So it's an expression. It's mostly amongst friends. You wouldn't say that to a stranger, and it's most common amongst young people. Which one? Which one now? What's going on? How are you? I think it's similar to the American "What's up?" I don't know what that means most times. I remember the first time I heard "What's up?" I thought, yeah, this guy's up. But which one? Which one you day? It's a greeting, and it's also an expression. The next expression it's actually comes from African fables, and you hear that a lot. It says, "Troki one box, but a hand shot." Troki is it's a name for the tortoise. Tortoises are meant to be very clever or very cunning. So you get that in lots of African tales and fables. So people will tell you that to it's a way of saying, I would like to do that, but I can't. I haven't got the money to, I don't know, go see a film. I haven't got the money to buy a beer, but I would really like to, but circumstances are holding me back. So he would tell you, or he or she, truck you one box. The Tempton didn't even finish it because, truck you one box, but he hand shot. So the tortoise wants to become a boxer. He wants to get into a boxing match, but his hands are very short. Poor Truckee. The next expression is jump past die. This is a very difficult word to explain. Jam actually means lack. I don't know how lack flipped over to jam. It's probably jam, an obstacle. But jump past die means that being in lack of something, having an obstacle to your path, is worse than dying. I don't know how true that is. So you would hear people would say things like, I hear this mostly in Cameroon, jump past die, monkey chop pepper. So monkeys would not eat pepper. Pepper is just, it's hot, it's not very nice. Monkeys don't like it. But if they're so hungry and there's nothing around, they would eat it. So it's somebody would use that when they are doing something which, or they're eating something which, or they're accepting something which they wouldn't normally accept if the circumstances were right. So jump past die, monkey chop pepper. Die is death. I don't like that one very much. It's very pessimistic. I think it's a flip on the half bread is better than none. I think, maybe. But jump past die. So being in lack of something, having a jam, an obstacle, is not a very good thing. The next expression actually illustrates very well a point I made in another video on one of the reasons why you should learn how to speak Pidgin. Is that once you understand Pidgin, you understand better when Pidgin speakers are speaking in English. This one, with the manage, with the push on. It comes from, it's usually in response to how you day, how no, how you day, how body. You can hear that as well, how body, how's your body. It's variations of how you day. And the guy might tell you that with the manage, with the push on. And it kind of means that nothing wonderful is happening. I'm not too good, I'm not too bad. I'm just there. I'm okay. That's very good, not very bad. Just normal. I used to have this friend. When somebody would ask him, that's an English person would ask him, so how are you? He would say, I am managing. And the guy would get he was very confused because what is he managing a business? Is he because the word manage now it's mostly used in business and workplace and things like that. So manage also mean like we are making do. So it's not perfect, but we are making do. So somebody would say, make a manage a small beer. It means that let me have this beer. I would have liked to pick a beer or more expensive beer. Or somebody's going to eat and he's got a piece of chicken and he calls you and said, my friend, I can't manage this one. So he's saying that the food I'm offering is not wonderful, it's not large enough. But let's just manage it. So here with the manage or with the push on, we are managing. We are working on. So with the manage, you hear that a lot. And just to repeat again, You can hear somebody actually use that in English. We didn't manage. And I remember this guy, what he used to say was, I am managing my Gary. Gary is a synonym for food. Gary is a cassava thing. It's crushed cassava, dried and kind of baked or fried. And it's a huge staple in Cameroon and Nigeria and most of West Africa where cassava is grown widely. So the guy would say, I did manage my Gary. It could also be my life. The food could be, I did manage my life from, I'm getting by. So with the manage is a very good expression to learn. Somebody asks you how you are and you want to show off, just say, I did manage. This expression, your number don't jump. Your number has jumped. It's one I learned actually when I was already in my 20s. Because I'd been away for a while, for a bit, and like I said, Pidgin changes, it evolves. Like every language, it's alive, it's growing every day. And it took me a while to understand this. Until one day I went to get a bus, and it comes from motor parks. That's where the expression comes from. So when buses are loading up to travel between one town or the other, they have numbers. So what happens is they'll call your number. It's your time to go up. Just like you go and queue, you go to see your doctor, you pick up a number. So when they call your number and you're not there, you've lost. You have to go back to the end of the queue. So it's that's where it comes from. It started in motor parks. It can happen in a doctor's surgery. I don't think they did numbers in surgeries in West Africa. Maybe they do. I don't know. But it comes from that, and it usually means you've missed your chance. Your number don't jump. Your number don't jump. So they skipped you, and it could also be used to mean your time has passed. So like when you're getting on in years and you're trying to do all the latest dance moves, a young man might tell you your number don't jump. That's like you are no longer relevant. You've lost it. You were in the past. That was the future. So it's not really a nice thing to say. It's a dismissal. Your number don't jump. And this is mostly in Cameroon. I've never heard it anywhere else. But I'm sure there are similar expressions in different parts of West Africa. A variation of that might be moto don't go leave you. Moto is the word we use for cars. You've missed the train has sailed or the ship has sailed. The train has left the station. So it's like, so you can hear moto don't go leave you. Oh, yeah, it's about missing out and coming late and not also being relevant. So make sure your number not jump in learning Pidgin. This is the time, get in right there and learn how to speak the lingo. Our next expression is one day na one day. One day na one day. Or I think I've written on day na one day. Anybody know what I mean? One day na one day. And a similar one is today na today. Today is today. One day na one day actually comes from an English expression. I think it comes from a story. 99 days for the thief, one day for the owner. So it means that one day you're going to get your comeuppance. One day, sooner or later, you're going to be called to answer for your actions. So it's usually used when somebody is doing something wrong and they think they can get away with it forever. So you could tell them one day na one day. So you fooled me today. You stole my food today. I couldn't catch you. But one day na one day, one day na one day, I'll get you. So it's a warning. One day na one day. Another related expression, it's today na today. I think it just means this is a day. So let's say this guy keeps, it used to happen when we were kids on the playground. There's this bully who used to slap everybody around. And he can slap you just so far. Then one day he would say, today na today. That's today. We're going to get this sorted once and for all. And you have to make sure you're very strong and ready to fight. So today, not today. Probably you were telling him or her that one day, I'll be able to stand up to you. And then when that day comes when you're prepared to stand up to the person, you say, today, not today. There's one which my mom used to like a lot. It says, today, not today. Me and you go wear 1 foot trouser. So 1 foot trousers. Trousers is trousers. So basically, trousers got there's spaces for 2 legs, and it says you and I are going to put both of our legs, in one of those legs of the trouser. So today, not today. Me and you go wear 1 foot trouser. Today is like, it's going to be bad. It will be hot. And so one day, not one day. Today, not today. And today, not today, is the day you have to learn Pidgin. This is a very easy one. Strong hand, tight hand. It comes from being tight-fisted, being so tight. I don't know whether we have any word for fist and Pidgin. You just the hand. Oh, that man tight hand. That man strong-handed. It doesn't mean strong. He just strong hand means like he's tight-fisted. He doesn't let go of money. He doesn't give gifts to kids and things like that. And in Cameroon, I don't know whether they use the same expression in Nigeria, but I think most Nigerians would understand. In Cameroon, they would say, "That man a Japanese handbrake." It comes from those old Japanese cars which had the brake lever was you use your hand to say it wasn't there on the pedals. You use your hand. I don't know why that thing developed. Maybe you don't have to stretch your hand to very far to. Oh, somebody told me once it's because the handbrake, the one that was on the dashboard, was very strong. It was very once you. It's like the handbrake. It's once you do it, the car doesn't roll. Once you pull it. So Japanese handbrake just means that guy is tight-fisted. He doesn't give gifts very easily. Talking about gifts, I just remembered an expression, dash. It's a gift. I remember looking it up and nobody really knows where that word comes from. So dashing is something which is to dash somebody something. It's you hear that all over the West African coast. People say, you could even hear it in countries where they don't speak Pidgin, they don't speak English. The dash has a very horrible origin. The gift. And that's why giving gifts is so important in lots of cultures. Or maybe it was there before, but it was during the days of slavery when the slave ships would come and they had to give some money to the local chiefs to be able to dock. And they gave something called a dashi. So the slave captain, the horrible guy who would not give a lot of dashi, a lot of gifts to the local chiefs or those who control, were called Tronghan. Anyway, that's a bit of history. It's not very good history. So Tronghan, tight hand, Japanese handbrake, tight-fisted. Our next expression is go find place Shidon. That you hear it mostly in Cameroon. And you can hear move me day. I've got this kind of nasty feeling as if most of the expressions I'm looking at today are negative ones. They're all negative emotions and they're combative. But I'm sure in the next video we'll look at nicer things. I always like learning nice things. So go find place Shidon. It's go and look for somewhere to sit. It's a dismissal. It's like move away from me. Go somewhere. Take your trouble somewhere else. That trouble, it's another thing which we'll look in another video. It's a Pidgin. If somebody is giving you a headache, you can say, you define my trouble. So go find place Shidon means just go away from this assembly. We don't want you here. We don't want what you're selling. And move me day is also negative, but people use it. It's friendly. So if you tell somebody something which is incredible, they go, move me there. Or they can say, move me there it depends on how they say it or what's happening. It's negative. Go find place shidon means go and look for somewhere to sit. Go and look for a place to sit down. So sit down in Cameroon Pidgin is shidon. I think in Nigeria they might use sit down. They might say sit down. In Sierra Leone, I've heard Sierra Leone say sit down. Sit down. Sit down. So the ow sound becomes an O sound. Go find place shidon. I beg move me there. Get out of my sight. So I hope the next word is going to be less negative and less combative than this one. Hello, welcome to the channel where we learn Pidgin in 2 weeks, and we're looking at Pidgin expressions today. Like I said before, Pidgin varies from country to country. Even within the same country, it actually varies. But most Pidgin speakers would understand what the other one is saying, even though they wouldn't use the same expression. So the next one is Body di pepper me. I think it's a Nigerian thing. No, in Cameroon, I've heard people say, I go pepper you. I would do something horrible to you. When we're kids, if you do something wrong, other kid will say, I'll go and tell your mom. I'll tell your mommy, he go pepper you. So yeah, it's in Cameroon. But in Nigeria, you hear body di pepper me. It just means I'm in pain. There's something bothering me. I'm not feeling too fine. It's usually as a result of some unpleasant experience. It could be you just wanting something, you're disturbed. We can also use the word pain. Pain is a funny one. We'll look at it in another video. But generally, pain might not be physical pain. It might not be pain you feel in your body. It could be emotional pain. Somebody can say, oh, that thing pained me. It pained me. You hear that mostly in Nigeria. In Cameroon, they would say that thing hurts me. So it's temperature now. Pepper is, it's pepper. It's hot. If you get into your eyes, you're in trouble. So in Cameroon, they would say, oh, that thing hurts me, saute. Or they say, it hurt my heart. It pained my heart. It pained my heart. So body di pepper me is like I am not feeling, I'm not happy, I'm not 100%, I'm angry. I'm about to do something violent. So yeah. Pepper, hot, pain, similar words. And I'm sure they're all similar. So, but I think it's better to use, this is also a bit slightly aggressive. Body di pepper me, it means like, I'm about to do something, my body hurts. But emotionally, if you hear bad news, you say, oh, that news pained me. It pained me. It means I feel emotionally hurt. So I feel deep sympathy for that. Okay, on to the next one. The next one is a day like another day. A day like another day. A day like another day. So the times when they like, those deep tongues are not very. So I did like another. It means that I am as if I am not. You usually get that when you ask somebody, a friend, you go, how now? How buddy? How you day? How are you? How's your day? How you day now? And the guy says, I did like another day. I am there as if I'm not that. I'm not there. It's one of those non-committal. It's like, well, I'm there. It's like, you won't notice me. I'm Mr. Cellophane. You can see right through me. There's nothing big going on with me. I'm not important. I'm not making any contribution to anything. It means that it's not a nice feeling, but it's like, I'm inconsequential. I had a variation, I think it was in Nigeria. Somebody said, oh, at the purge. that he was perching like a bird. The bird is there. It's not doing anything. It's just looking. It's just like, it's not taking part in the action. There are things happening all around it. It's just sitting there. It did like, it just perch. My mom had this favorite one. She used to say, it did look eye. If she don't look eye, the person is sitting down and looking with their eyes. That's it did look eye. It means like, it's like just a watcher, somebody sitting on the sidelines. And things are happening and they're not part of the action. They're not in the mix. So I do like I know there means I'm not in the mix. You guys are not inviting me to your parties. You're not giving me nice things as a beard. You're not inviting me to play football. So I feel like I know there. I'm just there. You guys have almost abandoned me. I just did the look eye. I'm just sitting there, just watching. Look eyes, watching. It's looking with your eyes. It can also mean you're looking and not seeing. Yeah, so I feel like I know there. I'm just there. Nothing is happening. I'm not part of the action. But if you learn Pidgin, I think he could deal like you did. The next expression, my heart caught. It fall me for belly. My heart caught. I think it comes from the two things where like the heart was considered the seat of all emotions. Cut, it's like a heartbeat. It's my heart skipped a bit. So it's a bit, it skipped. So cut is, it stopped suddenly. It skipped a bit. So my heart cut is like you see something which is like boom, and your heart skips. Then fall me for belly is an exaggeration. It means like it actually literally just cut off and then fell into your stomach. Belly comes from belly. My heart, I don't know, cut itself off and fell into my stomach. So it's usually when you're faced with a lot of fear, huge emotions, things that are likely to cause you harm, and your body reacts. You feel your heart skip a bit. Boop. My heart caught. You fall me for belly. The next one is a funny one because I think there's a song about it. A Nigerian musician came up with a song about it. He was criticizing Nigeria because Nigeria jaga jaga. Sorry, I cannot sing. Jaga jaga, a friend of mine told me, I was looking for the origin of the word, and she says it comes from jagged, a jagged edge. So it's not smooth, it's rough. Everything is just upside down. And with that song, there's a story that the then president of Nigeria was very annoyed that this guy was singing about Nigeria being jaga jaga. Jaga jaga is just like, it's just scattered. There's no order. Nothing follows a straight line. It's not tokenized. You can say you meet somebody with dreadlocks. You can say the head jaga jaga. Jaga jaga. It's the meaning is in the sound. It's just anyhow. It's just there, up and down. So yes, the thing they jaga jaga. The thing they jaga jaga. The whatever you're talking about. It's not well organized. It's not happening. It's not going anywhere very fast. So Nigeria jaga jaga. Everything scatter scatter. Anyway, I hope Obasanjo doesn't listen to this. But jaga jaga means it's just scattered. It's just anyhow. And let's hope by listening to this channel, your Pidgin won't be jaga jaga. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Fine girl, no pimples. This is it's a new, it's rather new. You hear it a lot. I think the first time I heard it was a Nigerian comedian using it. The origin is in Nigeria, but you hear that in Cameroon. So you see a pretty woman, you go, fine girl, no pimples. Fine girl. In Cameroon, we say girl, it's not girl. Fine girl, no pimples. It just means that I think it's because pimples is one of those things during the teenage years when people are obsessed with beauty. Having pimples or spots or blackheads on your face it was a huge problem most young people faced. So fine girl, no pimples, just being beautiful, smooth skinned, fresh faced. So fine girl, no pimples. It's you hear that a lot nowadays. It's yeah, beautiful girl. Our next expression is definitely Nigerian. I've never heard this expression in Cameroon. I remember the first time I heard it, I was very confused. I didn't know what it meant. It's usually used to describe something, an event or a story. Let's say a friend of mine is traveling to Lagos to go and do something, and then when he comes back, I ask him, "Okay, how did the thing go now? How did it go?" He said, "My brother, the thing can't get clear leg or." And when I asked about the origin, it's not very nice thing. But I think it was rickets. When I was growing up, loads of it was quite common. So when somebody, when knock-kneed, when the person's leg is not straight, so that was quite common. I think it's a deficiency of some vitamin or the other. So K-leg means the thing doesn't walk straight. If they're knock knees, they walk around, they kind of, it goes rickety. This probably means it's rickety, it's not straight. It's not what it seemed. The thing can't get K-leg. Or somebody is telling you a story or something which there's something hidden in this story. There's a catch. And you say, that thing that like say get K-leg or so K-leg it's using a physical deformity in language, which is not very nice, but there we have it. So I hope your study, your journey into Pidgin, can't get K-leg. Let's move on to the next one. I think this video is becoming too long. I was going to make a very short one, but I've got 3 or more slides, so we're almost coming to the end. So the next one is your own fine. It's, I'm trying to think of an equivalent in English. I think the closest is like good for you. It's like somebody says, "Oh, I've just won the lottery," or yeah, that's fine. It's good. But it's there's a bit of envy in there. So it's not a positive emotion. It's like if you're showing off and you say something, and somebody will say, "You're on fine, or you're lucky." There's a similar expression, and they go, "God don't butter my bread. God has put butter on my bread." Think about lucky, things are going. But when somebody says it to you, it's always it's not a nice thing. And in Cameroon, you hear "you're on fine," no, they'll put an O at the end. That O tells you that it's not genuine. It's not good. "You're on fine." Let's move to the next one. I'm going to hurry up now. The next one, I think all the expressions I put together, they're rather negative, but this one isn't, because people are proud of it. You hear somebody say, well, you're not well. It doesn't mean you're unwell. It just means that you're saying something which the guy doesn't believe it, or you've done something ridiculous. You say, let's say you're a child and you do something, or you paint on the wall. You say, "This picking, well, so well. It means there's something wrong with you." But it's not aggressive. It's just a little critique. And then talking about well, it's actually you're not well in the head. I think that's would be, but it's not very negative. Then the other one you hear in Cameroon, you hear it in Nigeria. I think I've heard Sarah say that as well. It's "your head don't shake." If It's similar thing of saying somebody fell on your head when they were a baby. So your head don't shake. I mean, it's like your brain moved about in your skull so much that you don't think clearly. You don't follow the rules. You know well. Somebody slaps you. I was like, you know well, or you ask them, you well? So are you well? So yeah, no, I know well. My head don't shake. The next expression or the next word, we use it in loads and loads of ways, is the word sweet. It comes from sugar, is sweet. It could mean nice, it could be good, it could be love. You can hear somebody say, the thing sweet me. So I really liked it. It made me laugh. It actually made laugh. It's laughable. Or it brought a bit of humor. If somebody gives you food and you really like it, you say, Mommy. I mean, we tend to use the word Mommy. It's a sign of respect. Somebody older than you, somebody old enough to be your mom, or you can use Auntie. They give you food and you go, Auntie, this chop sweet well, or the well is a Nigerian thing. In Cameroon, I say, this chop sweet, eh? So we use at the end. Is one of those interjections for emphasis. That chop sweet, eh? That thing sweet me, eh? So sweet. You can even use it, the word sweet, the way it's used in English. Oh, that's a sweet girl. He's a sweet boy. But you use it mostly for food to show you appreciate, you love it. Well is very well. So we'll look at that in another video where we use two words. You repeat a word for emphasis. And there are times when it could mean if somebody has a fright and the hairs on the back of their neck stands on end, they would say, my beer hair is beer. My beer stand 1-1. So it's sweet well. Sweet. It's sweet, eh? So I always say that when somebody gives you food. Say, Mommy, this chop sweet, eh? You go to a restaurant by the side of the road. This chop sweet, eh? The next one is you too much, oh. I think that's mostly Nigerian. With the thing with Nigerian Pidgin, with the growth in the Nigerian music industry, it's actually overtaking all the different dialects of Pidgin existing in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in Sierra Leone, in Ghana. So Nigerian Pidgin is kind of dominating. But even without the rise of Nigerian music, I think most Pidgin people will understand. People who speak Pidgin will understand what you're talking about. You can say, you're too much, or I think it's similar in English, you're too much. It can mean, you've done something which is too much. It's over. It's unbelievable. You can say it when somebody is looking very spiffy. Somebody's all dressed up to the nines. And you will see them and say, Mommy or Papa, you're too much. Or it's like, you're the man, you're the woman, you're the bee's knees. And just another word, you can say somebody's all dressed up. You go, they are close, sweet, and no be small. No be small means it is not small. It means it's too much. And you can also use that for food. Say this chop sweet, no be small. This chop sweet, well. Just like we saw in the last slide. So you too much, you too much for learn this Pidgin, or the way you talk Pidgin. You're Pidgin too much, or guy, you too much, The next expression is something you would hear probably quite a lot in Cameroon, or I think even in Nigeria, in Sierra Leone. And somebody would say it's to show confusion, unbelief. So somebody tells you a story or something happens to you which is incredible. You go, I know hear my head inside that matter. I know hear my head for inside. I know basically here it's about feeling, or I cannot reason it. I cannot make sense of it. So I know hear my head. The word hear is used very, very differently in Pidgin and English. It could mean feel. I know hear my body. I know it doesn't make sense. I know the hear my body. It means that you don't feel your body is not okay, you're not okay, you feel kind of queasy, or you're slightly not, you're not sick, but it's just not there. I know hear my body. I know hear my head inside there. So my mind, my brain could not make sense of that. It's stupendous. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. I know hear my head inside. Or in Nigeria here, I know hear my head inside the matter. So my brain could not make sense of that matter. So make sure you hear your head well for this Pidgin where we talk today. So okay, make we go listen to the next slide. You'll be glad to know we've come to almost to the end. This is the last but one, the penultimate slide. The expression we're looking at is Anosi Road, Inosi Road. It literally means I did not see the road, or the person did not see the road. But it's linked to seeing the road, but it's seeing your way out. It's not even that. It's an example is somebody comes to my house to give me trouble, and I kind of got the upper hand, and the guy had to leave in a hurry. He had to run away. He's met somebody bigger and stronger or more aggressive than they are. And then if you're telling the story, I would say, that person won't leave my house in Osi Road. Or you say, he won't leave my house in Osi Road. Or if the tables are turned, I go somewhere and I get a good talking to, a good thrashing, and I want to escape. I want to leave. They say, I want Komodi and Osi Road. It's like you were seeing stars. I think that's but seeing stars is different because you can be sedentary. I know Road means there's movement, there's flight. It's like walking away with your tail behind your legs. I think that's the closest in English. He won't come on my house in Osi Road. The man came, Koshi is curse. It's insult. Koshi, he won't leave my house in Osi Road. By the time he was leaving my house, he cannot see the road. Koshi, well, he won't leave my house in Osi Road. So this is the last expression on this video, and it's I think it's linked to the way African agencies reacted or interacted with Hollywood and even Nollywood. It's the idea of something which is incredible, it's too fast, it's too slow, it's just too much going on. And I think in the early days, the films which were very popular in Africa were mostly war films or action films. So there's that thing of, so when somebody is describing an event back, something, I went there and this was happening, there was somebody jumping on a wall, and then the guy says, did it make me like film? They'll say film without the L. It make me like film. Or you hear the guy, it make me like war film. It's like, it looks as if it's fiction. It's fiction. It's not true. That's my reaction to it. But what I saw was actually happening. Say, Massa, this thing for Len Pidgin, it make me like film. It make me like war film. They even I've heard people use that expression when they're talking about photoshopping or somebody tampering with images. They go, I leave that in a film. It's make-believe. It's make-believe. But if I said it didn't make me like him, it's my reaction towards it. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was too much to take down, to take in. So I think we don't come to the end. I hope say this Pidgin thing not make you like film. See you. We have the next video coming on, and it's a continuation of Pidgin expressions. So like if you like it, subscribe. And if you have any questions, or if you think some of the interpretations I gave were not correct, do point it out. Language is, it's living, it varies. It's colored by the landscape, by the people, by the language. So, we have American English, we have English, Australian English. There are loads of words and expressions which don't mean the same thing. So it's going to mean the same thing. The Pidgin spoken in Enugu in Nigeria to the one spoken in Bamenda and the one spoken in Limba, in Douala, they're all different. But somehow we understand it because the basic framework is there. Now, thank you for listening to the end of this video. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.